Don't say these things to a claims adjuster. You ever been in a fender bender? It's the worst. But you know what's worse than a fender bender? Talking to the claims adjuster afterward? Okay, maybe not worse, but it's right up there. It's like walking into a comedy club. Except the joke might end up being on you if you're not careful. We're talking about things you should never, ever say to a claims adjuster. Trust me, these guys have heard it all, and they've got the deny that claim stamp locked and loaded. Okay, let's talk about this classic. They came out of nowhere. First of all, where is nowhere? Is it like a magical land where cars just appear? Like boom, poof, there's a car. Did a wizard do it? No, seriously, did a wizard do it? Because if there's a wizard involved, that changes things. We need to talk to Gandalf or somebody. You see, in the real world, things don't just materialize out of thin air, unless you're watching a David Copperfield show, but even then there are mirrors and trapdoors and stuff. Claims adjusters are looking for facts, not magical realism. So unless you want them to think you've been hitting the pixie dust, stick to the facts.
What you really mean is, you didn't see the other car coming. Maybe you weren't paying attention. Maybe they were hidden behind a truck. Maybe you need to get your eyes checked. Whatever the reason, be honest about it. I remember this one time I was driving down the street and this squirrel, I swear, this squirrel came out of nowhere. I mean, 1 minute the road was clear, the next minute, bam, squirrel! I almost swerved into a fire hydrant. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't try to blame the squirrel when the cops showed up. Okay, maybe I did a little bit, but the point is, I didn't blame it on nowhere.
Listen, I love technology as much as the next guy. I mean, I can't even go to the bathroom without my phone these days. But let's be real, technology is not perfect. Remember that time your GPS tried to send you into a lake? Or when autocorrect changed your sweet text message to your grandma into something? Well, let's just say it involved a farm animal and leave it at that. The same goes for those fancy sensors in your car. They're great when they work, but they're not foolproof. So when you tell a claims adjuster my sensor didn't go off, it sounds like you're trying to shift the blame from your own driving to a piece of technology that's about as reliable as a screen door on a submarine.
It's like that time I was backing out of my parking space at Walmart. I was looking in my rearview camera. There was nothing there. My sensor did not beep or alert me to anyone around my car, so I pressed the gas and boom. I hit an old lady pushing a buggy. I couldn't believe it. My sensor did not go off and she was not on my camera. How was I supposed to know that I am supposed to still use my neck to turn and look around my vehicle to make sure it is safe to move my car? I mean, what are the sensors for?
My point is, technology can be funky. So instead of relying on your car's sensors to absolve you of all responsibility, just be honest with the claims adjuster. Tell them what happened, explain what you saw or didn't see, and let them do their job.
And speaking of trouble, let me tell you about this one time. Okay, so picture this. I'm at a red light, right? And the light turns green, so naturally I start to go. But then, out of nowhere, this other car comes flying through the intersection like it's got a jet engine. He's automatically at fault, right? I mean, my light was green. His was obviously red. Green means go. Okay, this one is just common sense, people. It's like saying, I saw the huge line for the bathroom, so I decided to run towards it. Or, I saw a sign that said, danger wet floor, so I did a little dance. Look, we all know that approaching an intersection requires caution. It's like driving 101. You slow down, you check for traffic, you proceed with caution. You don't gun it like you're trying to win the Indy 500. That's just asking for trouble.
But you know what I didn't do? I didn't tell the cops, hey, I had a green so I gunned it. The action I should have taken was to check the intersection and oncoming traffic to make sure it was safe to proceed. Having a green light does not magically grant me control of the intersection. A prudent driver will never assume another driver will take the appropriate action. If they did, we wouldn't have car accidents, people. And here's a golden nugget of advice that could save you a lot of headaches. Avoid blurting out that you were driving for Uber or Lyft if you have a personal auto policy. Let me paint you a picture. You're cruising around town, using your personal vehicle to pick up some extra cash by giving rides. Everything's going smoothly until, bam, you're involved in an accident. Now, you might think, no big deal, I've got insurance. But here's the kicker. If you tell your claims adjuster that you were driving for a ride-sharing service, your personal auto policy might not cover the damages. Why, you ask? Because personal auto policies typically exclude coverage for commercial activities. That means if you're driving for Uber or Lyft, you're considered to be using your vehicle for commercial purposes. And unless you've got a specific ride-sharing endorsement or a commercial policy, you could be left footing the bill for repairs out of pocket. So, what's the takeaway here? always make sure you know what your insurance covers and what it doesn't. And if you're moonlighting as a rideshare driver, it might be worth looking into additional coverage. Trust me, it's better to be safe than sorry. So, there you have it, folks. The top 4 things you should never say to a claims adjuster, unless you want to end up as a cautionary tale in their training manual. Remember, honesty is the best policy, even when it comes to car accidents. Be upfront, be truthful, and most importantly, be aware of your surroundings. And whatever you do, if a squirrel runs out in front of your car, just blame it on the wizard. Trust me, it's less embarrassing that way.